Assalamu alaikum, second year. It's me, Sarkhan. Today's lecture is about the exercise of farewell sermon, chapter 1.1. Parts of speech. As you know, words are fundamental units in every sentence. So we will begin by looking at these. Consider the words in the following sentence. My brother drives a big car. We can tell almost instinctively the brother and car are the same type of words. And also that brother and drives are different types of words. Mean both of these two words are from different clauses. By this we mean that brother and car belong to the same word clause. Similarly, when we recognize that brother and drives are different types, we mean that they belong to different word clauses. Hence, it is useful to learn how different words function within a sentence. Look at the table below. There are 8 main functions, each of which can be used to describe a word. First one is noun, second pronoun, third verb, fourth adjective, fifth adverb, sixth preposition, seventh conjunction, eighth interjection. Now the first one. Definition: a person, place, thing or idea. Examples: cat, fireman, house, pencil, Chicago. A noun names or labels a thing or person. It's an open clause, basically words, its function. Labels a thing or person, where a real thing, example cat, a concrete noun, an imaginary thing, example goose, still a concrete noun. A thing that is just an idea, fear, love, hatred, abstract noun. Or a specially named thing or person, Ali, Minar Pakistan, proper noun. Clearly nouns form an open clause of words. Indeed, new nouns are being formed all the time as new things need naming. If there is a new idea, so you have to label it by a naming word. That's why it's an open clause word. A phrase that has a noun as its head word is called a noun phrase. Within any sentence, keep in your mind, within any sentence the noun or noun phrase can occupy in 3 possible positions. It's a technical point about noun. You can place it at 3 different positions or 3 different possible positions. And each of these has a very different function or who is so. A noun or noun phrase can be placed before a verb to tell what or who is doing the action of the verb. Either you can place it or to put it at the beginning of a sentence to tell what or who is doing the action of the verb. This position is called the subject position. For example, the cat ate the mouse. So the cat, it's a noun, and we placed it at the beginning of the sentence. Over here, it tells what or who is doing the action of the verb. Some verbs also need a noun or noun phrase after them to be in the object position, to tell of the thing or person that he is taking the action of the verb. The same sentence. If you just look the same sentence, the cat ate the mouse. The mouse is also a noun, and we placed it at the objectival position to tell of the thing or person that is taking the action of the verb. Finally and very frequently, a noun phrase can follow a preposition to form a prepositional phrase. It was all about noun. Now, pronoun. Definition: a word used in place of a noun. Example: he, she, it, they, you, we. So, a pronoun is another kind of naming word. It's another kind of naming word basically. Pronouns form a small closed clause of words that stand for a noun. These are small closed clause words, not in open clause. Because no more pronouns are being added to the English language, there are enough already. Pronouns can be used to save repeating a noun word. Why we are using them in a sentence? To avoid repetition, to make writing formal. For example, the tiger crawled through the jungle. It couldn't be heard. We used it instead of tiger to avoid repetition. The noun to which a pronoun refers is called its antecedent or referent. In this case, the pronoun it is its antecedent, the noun tiger. As with nouns, a pronoun can be put in either the subject or object position. Just like noun, either you can put them or you can put it at the subjectival position or at the objectival position in a sentence. For example, he played the piano. We put or placed it at the beginning or at the subjectival position. The girl hit him. It's the objective case of he, so we placed it at the objectival position at the end of the sentence. But the form of the pronoun changes whether subject or object. If you are going to place them at the subjectival position, so you have to use the nominative case, I means the first case or the subjectival case at the beginning of the sentence. If you are going to use them at the objectival position or at the end of sentence, so then you have to place the objective case. For example, him is the objective case of he. At the beginning of the sentence you have to use he, and at the end of the sentence you have to put him. At the beginning of the sentence you have to put she, at the end of the sentence you have to put her. At the beginning of the sentence you have to put I. At the objectival or at the end of the sentence, at the objectival position or at the end of the sentence you have to put me. You have to mug up the kinds or the cases of pronouns. Next, third one in number. That is verb. Definition: a word that tells what someone or something does, an action, word or word of being. Yes, up to some extent. The proper definition, or now I'm going to explain it. Any verb, or verbs or doing or being words basically. They are in open clause just like noun. Verbs are also open clause. Keep in your mind. If it tells what the subject does, it is called a dynamic verb. If it tells what the subject is, it is called a stative verb. Yes. For example, he is reading a passage. So now, here reading is a dynamic verb. He is a reader is, now over here in this sentence or in the second one, is a stative verb. It's not a dynamic verb. Dynamic verb can usually take an object. The cat chased the mouse. Chased is a dynamic verb and it takes mouse. Various stative verbs such as be, feel, appear and seem can take an object. She likes ice cream. Now likes is not a dynamic verb, it's a stative verb over here in this sentence. Or a compliment. She is bright. It is a stative verb, not dynamic. What is compliment? A compliment acts to complete the subject in some way by describing or explaining it further. What is compliment? It acts to complete the subject in some way by describing or explaining it further. Typically in English syntax, a verb follows its subject or complement and precedes its object. For example, the cat, its subject, eat, its verb, the mouse, its object. There are other grammatical positions in a sentence. Keep in your mind, guys. There are other grammatical positions within a sentence into which a verb can be placed. However, in these positions the verb is never part of subject verb combination, and so it's not a finite verb. It's a point. Verb used in this way are called non-finite. So now, what is non-finite or non-finite verbs? These verbs, like words, are easy to confuse with a verb, but they are not acting as a verb, but rather is another part of speech. For example, non-finite verbs of a verb can act as a noun, and act is the subject or object of another finite verb. For example, cooking is fun. Now, cooking is non-finite. It is being used as a subject of another finite verb, is cooking. To swim can help overall fitness. To swim can help overall fitness. To swim is non-finite. And he is enjoys running. Similarly, they can be used in the adjective position to modify a noun. What is the third or the next use? You can use them in the adjective position to modify a noun. For example, the cooked apple were mixed with a little melted sugar. Cooked apple. So now cooked, we used it at adjectival position, were mixed with a little melted sugar. Little melted. It's acting like adjective. It was all about verb. Next, adjectives.